Welcome back to Daytime Ottawa. It is hard to believe that it is the first full-scale, in-person Music and Beyond since 2019, and I know my next guest and his entire team and all the performers involved are so excited. I am joined by Julian Armour. He is the Artistic and Executive Director of Music and Beyond. Julian, welcome and congratulations. Maybe you can start off with that and just speaking on how excited yourself and your entire team is to be back in person.
Yeah, thank you, Derek. And it's great to be chatting with you. And it's just unbelievable. This will be our first full-scale festival in 4 years. And it's been that kind of a period. We've all lived through it. We've all hung in there together. And we're just over the moon. And the performers that we've got lined up, we've got such an incredible lineup of people coming. Really looking forward to it. It's going to be a very exciting 2 weeks.
Yeah, no kidding. And you do have some great performers, and we'll get to that in a moment. But for people that don't know the history behind Music and Beyond, tell us a little bit about the inspiration behind it and the growth that we've seen throughout the years, Julian.
Yeah, well, Music and Beyond was founded in 2010. That was the year of our first festival, and the whole idea was to make sure that classical music becomes and stays relevant, and that people can come out to events and really enjoy it. So, for example, we put on Christopher Plummer in a project that he and I worked on for 3 years of Shakespeare and music, and he'd been wanting to do it forever, and we put it together. And all kinds of theater people came out who'd never go to hear music, and they loved the music, and they kept going for the next 2 weeks. Similarly, a whole lot of people didn't know these Shakespeare works from the classical music world, and they enjoyed it. So the idea is building bridges and understanding that when a composer writes a piece of music, he's not just hanging out with musicians. He's looking at visual art. He's reading books. He's experiencing history, science, and the world impact him. So I think it's the idea of really bringing music to life and making it seem much more relevant. And particularly at a time now, I have 4 boys, and schools, they do a great job in many things, but they're really cutting back on their arts, and I think that's terrible. But this is one way that people can connect with the arts, and kids can connect to the arts, adults can. I think that's extremely important.
I'm glad you mentioned the school side of things, Julian, because you'll probably agree with me that, I wouldn't be here today without those arts programs in school. I imagine you wouldn't be where you are today without those programs when you were going through school.
Well, absolutely. It really gave me something to look forward to. It fired me up. I think it's good for the brain, too. I mean, they say 2/3 of kids who get into medical school studied a musical instrument. I mean, things happen with music that make the brain work much more effectively. So we need music in schools. Kids need to have that if we want to have high-performing students.
Let's talk about some of the highlights. And I think the great thing is, too, you're going to see different ways that classical music is performed as well, right? It's not just orchestra, it's bands and so on.
Yeah, I mean, we try to do everything. The point is we do ensembles and recitals, but we do orchestras, choirs. We have a number of fantastic choirs, choral groups. I mean, we've got Chanticleer, which most people consider to be the best all-male vocal group in the world, and they're absolutely amazing. Elmer Eisler Singers from Toronto, our own Capitol Chamber Choir. So we've got a lot of choirs, bands, wind ensembles, really interesting groups. So we've got a jazz big band classical fusion concert with the Marcus Roberts Trio and Jens Lindemann leading the Ottawa All-Star Big Band, and putting everything together and just mixing things up, which is, I think, what makes this festival really, really fun. Makes it really fun for me anyway.
Another highlight that stands out to me is Handel's Music for the Royal Fireworks. Tell me about this programming.
Yeah, this is absolutely wild. I've wanted to do something with the fireworks, but I don't really like playing outside and no one could hear the music with the orchestra. So what we're doing is we have an orchestra playing at the Carleton Dominion Chalmers Centre. At the same time, we're synchronizing fireworks over the Ottawa River, in the middle of the Ottawa River. We've got this huge barge, and we're shooting them off. So people can go to the banks of the Ottawa River or the Alexandra Bridge, and they can listen to the music being played live or live streamed on their device while they watch the fireworks, which are synchronized. Or they can go to the church, they can watch the orchestra live, and they can see the fireworks on a live screen accompanied. Or if they happen to be in Japan or Switzerland or anywhere in the world, or at home in Ottawa having a nice relaxing evening, they can watch both on their device, on their screen. So it's fun, and it's the technology for it is so incredibly complex because there's always a bit of a delay. So it's getting the delay out, and our team has really been having a good time finding lots of good solutions to this.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. Let's talk about another one that stood out to me, and I think this is a great one for families, and that is the Cumberland Heritage Village Museum. Tell us what's happening there.
Yeah, well, I love this Cumberland Heritage Village Museum. It's got all these old houses, and what we're doing is we're filling the grounds of the schoolhouse and church and the town hall and all these buildings with music, so people can actually come and they can hear different short mini performances. So the idea with kids is that they just need to stay and hear a 10 or 15 minute performance, then they can go and hear something totally different, then they can go and hear something totally different yet, strings, winds, indigenous music, drums, music games, and the idea is to make music as fun as skateboarding or video games or anything else. So it's a beautiful setting. I'm very much looking forward to that.
Also, we have a great partnership, Rogers TV and Music and Beyond. Tell everybody about that.
Well, this is amazing because, with the pandemic, I'd always been wanting to film concerts, but we never really got around to it. And then with the pandemic, we did. So we started videoing concerts, and I've got to say our production crew's been doing an amazing job, and Rogers has helped out with some of the camera work. And the videos turned out so well that at some point, Rogers said, why don't we just make this a weekly television show? So it goes out 3 times a week on Rogers Ottawa. And we've now done 52 different episodes. I mean, it's crazy. The video production, we've got done like almost 500 different videos now on our YouTube site. I mean, we're really producing these things, and it's really fun because it showcases our musicians, Ottawa musicians. We're actually putting young people on. They get the experience of broadcasting themselves, and they're being seen all around the world. I mean, it's amazing. Our website is visited from over 140 different countries. And people are watching these videos. We get letters from all around the world and even donations from all around the world to help support these. So it's been a very exciting project, and we're definitely grateful to Rogers for the partnership.
Oh, and as are we, Julian. It's been really special for us as well. I always appreciate the time. Thanks so much for joining us. I'll just remind everybody, musicandbeyond.ca for the entire schedule. It's in venues right across the region. We'll be right back.